All right, let's talk about something big. I mean, really big. We're going to dive into one of the most ambitious ideas out there, a cosmic ruler. But this thing doesn't measure planets or stars, nope. It's designed to measure the sheer power of entire civilizations. But our whole story really kicks off with a mystery, a really big one, a profound, almost unnerving silence. Think about it. Billions of galaxies, each one packed with billions of stars. So the fact that we seem to be completely, utterly alone, well, it's strange, right? This is the famous Fermi paradox. So if you're going to investigate a cosmic crime scene like this, you can't just go looking for little green men. That's not going to cut it. We need a real framework, a proper tool, something that helps us classify the potential suspects and figure out what kind of evidence they might actually leave behind. And that tool? It's called the Kardashev Scale. And honestly, it's a brilliantly simple idea. Instead of getting bogged down guessing what aliens might look like or think like, it just cuts right to the chase. It classifies them based on something truly universal: energy, plain and simple. How much juice can a civilization harness? It's basically a ladder of cosmic power. Okay, so let's start at the first rung of this ladder. We've got a Type 1 civilization. Now, these guys are the masters of their home world. They can wield every single bit of energy their planet has to offer. We're talking about everything from the sun, the wind, the oceans, right down to its molten core. So what does that actually look like in pure numbers? Well, we're talking about 10 quadrillion watts. That is a huge number. To give you some perspective, that's the total amount of solar energy that's constantly hitting the Earth. A Type 1 civilization can capture and use all of it. All of it. That's more than 100,000 times our current global energy consumption. Just let that sink in for a second. Yeah, with that kind of power, you're not just building bigger cities, no way. You're engineering the planet itself. You could completely stabilize the climate, tell hurricanes where to go, maybe even prevent earthquakes. And tapping the planet's core for limitless geothermal power, that's just another Tuesday. You can see how that level of management would probably need a single totally unified global culture to pull off. Okay, so the big question, where are we on this scale? Well, the legendary Carl Sagan actually did the math on this. He placed us at about a Type 0.7. So we're on our way, right? We're harnessing fossil fuels, we're starting to get serious about renewables. But yeah, we still have a long, long road ahead before we can claim to be masters of our own home. But look, mastering a planet, that's just the first step. The next leap on this scale is absolutely colossal. We're going from governing a world to engineering an entire star. This, my friends, is a Type 2 civilization. And the jump in energy it's staggering. We're talking 10 billion times more powerful than a Type 1. A Type 2 civilization harnesses the total energy output of its home star. I mean, every single photon, every particle, it's all captured and put to work. But how? How could any civilization possibly do that? Well, the most famous idea is something called a Dyson sphere, or more realistically, a Dyson swarm. So it's not some solid shell, but a massive collection of orbiting collectors that completely surrounds the star, just soaking up all that energy right at the source. The sheer ambition of a Type 2 civilization it's awesome in the true sense of the word. Think about it. They could build Matrioshka brains. These are planet-sized supercomputers nested inside the Dyson structures. They could do something called star lifting to literally mine their sun for fuel. Or, and get this, even build Shkadov Thrusters, giant stellar engines designed to move their entire solar system to a safer neighborhood in the galaxy. Wild, right? So here's the bottom line. A Type 2 civilization isn't just living in its solar system, it's the architect of its solar system. It can move planets around, consume parts of its star, and build things on a scale that we can barely even wrap our heads around. All right, are you ready? Now we climb to the final level of Kardashev's original scale. This is Type 3, and this is a civilization that has graduated from tinkering with its home star to commanding the power of its entire host galaxy. And again, the jump in energy it's almost impossible to comprehend. It's another 10 billion-fold increase over Type 2. We're talking about the combined energy output of every single star in a galaxy like our own Milky Way. All of it at the beck and call of one single coordinated intelligence. For a Type 3 civilization, Stars are just power plants. That's it. They'd be coordinating vast interstellar fleets, building Dyson spheres by the millions, and running industrial projects on a truly galactic scale. And for their ultimate power source? Oh, they'd turn to the monsters lurking right at the heart of the galaxy, the supermassive black holes. So how in the world do you get power from a black hole? Well, you use its own rotation against it. It's a concept called the Penrose process. Basically, you toss something into this special region called the ergosphere. It's right outside the event horizon of a spinning black hole. Then you split that object in two. You let one half fall in, and the other half gets violently flung out with more energy than it started with. You are literally stealing the black hole's spin energy. It's an incredible cosmic heist. And the payoff for that heist? It's immense. Just one power plant operating around that supermassive black hole at the galaxy's core could generate enough energy to power the entire Type 3 civilization. It is the ultimate cosmic power station. And that brings us right back to where we started, full circle. I mean, if civilizations this powerful are even possible, Type 2s building stellar engines, Type 3s tapping black holes for power, they should be incredibly, unavoidably obvious, right? So where is everybody? Well, believe me, the hunt is on. Astronomers are actively searching for what they call technosignatures. See, you can't break the laws of thermodynamics, so even a super efficient Dyson sphere has to leak some waste heat, probably as infrared radiation. So we're looking for that. We're scanning for stars that are weirdly dim invisible light but glowing in the infrared, or maybe for vast, unnatural-looking empty spots where entire clusters of stars seem to have been, well, enclosed. But here's the thing. After decades of searching, we found nothing. Not a single definitive sign. And that leads to a really fascinating and, honestly, a slightly unsettling question. What if our entire search, what if the whole Kardashev scale itself, is based on a completely flawed assumption? Think about this. What if progress isn't about getting bigger and bigger, but about getting smaller and smaller? This is the core idea behind an alternative model called the Barrow scale. It suggests that as a civilization gets really advanced, its true focus might shift away from macro-engineering, building giant structures, and turn inward to micro-engineering. Mastering genetics, then molecules, then atoms, and maybe, eventually, manipulating the very fabric of space-time itself. The implication here is huge. It means the ultimate path for intelligence might not be galactic conquest and just consuming everything in sight. Maybe it's about creating intricate, super efficient inner universes. A civilization could choose to become so hyper-efficient that it's practically invisible on a cosmic scale, a quiet little node of immense complexity, rather than a loud, galaxy-spanning empire. And this just opens up some truly mind-bending possibilities. What if the most advanced life out there is post-biological? Their consciousnesses all uploaded into massive computational structures that just sip energy. Or maybe some of those X-ray binaries we see, a star orbiting a black hole, aren't natural phenomena at all. Maybe they're actually Type 2 civilizations using the black hole as a giant data processor. Or what if they figured out how to manipulate extra dimensions and have just become completely invisible to us? And that's really the thought I want to leave you with. We started this journey looking for cosmic empires, right? For civilizations that would shout their existence across the galaxies with raw, unimaginable power. But maybe the Great Silence isn't a sign that nobody's home. Maybe it's a sign that the most advanced life in the universe learned a different lesson, that the ultimate power isn't found in conquering the stars, but in mastering the quiet, infinitely complex universe within.